Hello, everybody. My name is Max, and welcome to another B2 First Speaking Lesson. In this lesson, we're going to learn everything about interactive communication. We're going to learn what we have to do in order to get 5 scores. We're going to learn everything about the things you have to do and how we can get the fullest score in your interactive communication section. So without any hesitation, let's begin. All right, let's see what things we have to do in order to get fullest score in our interactive communication section. So first, let's read it together. It says initiates and responds appropriately, linking contributions to those of other speakers, maintains and develops the interaction, and negotiates towards an outcome. So let me simplify this for you. Let's try to make it a little bit easier to understand and see what things we have to do in order to, let's say, get the full score. So first of all, one thing which is referring to development of interaction is that, for example, when somebody asks you a question, you're just not saying the minimum response. You just try to little bit add more details to it. How you can do that, how you can add more details to what you, for example, you have to say. For example, you can just try to involve the other candidates. You can ask questions. You can try to, let's say, suggest something. You can try to ask some further questions to develop the conversation. And you should try to just do something that the other candidate also joins you in the parts that you are allowed to. Okay, there are some parts like part 1 and part 2, which you cannot do that. But part 3 and part 4, there are some situations where you have the possibility to do that. So in those parts, what matters is that you can try to invite the other candidate to talk. Now, there are many language, grammatical structures, questions. There are many ways that you can do that, which is all explained in the course. I can give you some examples as well. For example, one grammatical structure that you can use, we call it tag question. For example, tag question is something like this. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? You see the last part, isn't it? That's something that invites the, let's say, the other candidate to talk. So this is something really good in part 3 or part 4 to just give the chance to the other candidate to also talk and try to involve them in your conversation. And this is what the examiner loves. Like the examiners love this because they can see that you are trying to communicate. You're not just talking about your opinion and you don't care about the other people. So as you can see, the name is interactive communication. It means you're communicating. You're not just talking about yourself. So this part is about interaction. Now, something else that is also important in this part is starting the conversation or initiating and responding. Now, something that is important in this section is that, for example, you can, let's say, start the conversation. You can try to add new ideas to develop the task or develop the topic. You're not just sitting there and answering the questions. No, you're just trying to add more ideas, new ideas, and try to move the conversation forward. So the other candidate can also talk, but it shouldn't be just one person adding new ideas. You should just give the opportunity to other person to do that as well. I'll teach you how by real examples in the course, so don't worry about it. And also responding, which is something really important, is you have to try to react to what the other candidate, for example, said, or you have to also try to react to the interlocutor, what he or she has said. For example, if the person is asking you a question, you should try to answer that question and then talking about your opinion. Not just, for example, if he says something you don't care and you start talking about your opinion without even, let's say, mentioning his opinion, because in that case, you're not communicating. You don't care about the other candidate. You're just talking about yourself. So this is related to responding. Now, what else we have to, let's say, what things are more important in this part is another thing is supporting, prompting or turns. And these are some words that here I just put it there for you to understand what it means when you see them in the future. And one thing that is important is imagine the other candidate is trying to say something. Of course, I'm talking about part 3 and part 4. And the word doesn't come. He tried to say it. He's looking for the word, but he doesn't know what to say. And you try to help them. You just say the word. Just give them the opportunity. You help them develop the idea. And this is very good. You're supporting. If you can do that, definitely examiners love that. They see that, okay, the person is trying to help the other candidate, try to communicate, try to keep the conversation moving and not having some, let's say, pauses in the conversation. You try to move the conversation forward, but you're not interrupting constantly. You're not a teacher, just helping, okay? I'm not saying like constantly interrupt the other candidate if he doesn't know what to say. No, try to help them, try to, if they need help, if you have the possibility to do that, it's very good idea to try to support them. Also, remember that turns are also something really important, that you have turns. It means that you should give the other candidate time to talk. It's not a competition that if I talk more, I'm going to win. No, definitely this is against you. So there is a limitation in each part, which again, we will talk about them in each part, how much you should talk, the length of your answers. We'll talk about them. And you should try to always give the opportunity to other candidate to talk as well, but not just 100% giving them the opportunity. You should try to also involve yourself in the conversation so that you can also show your language to the examiner so that they can, let's say, assess your level and give you, for example, your real score. And now something also that is important is referring to interaction is that these turns is not always about question and answer. Sometimes the other candidate or you, for example, starts suggesting something. So in that case, the other person should try to, let's say, show agreement or disagreement with what you said. So you said, for example, I think security cameras are really important in the city, and then you should just show agreement or disagreement with him. So you say, for example, I totally agree with that, or I think that's really important, or try to show the agreement. Now, again, agreement, disagreement, for each part, I put a lot of languages for that so that you use a very good advanced language to say it and not just saying, I agree, I disagree, oh, that's a good idea, or that's a bad idea. No. These are very simple languages, which I don't want you to use them. I want you to use more advanced. Why? Because first, it's going to help you just get some as good scores in grammar and vocabulary. Second of all, the examiners will see that your interactive communication is really good and you're trying to communicate in an advanced way. So this is also referring to exchanging ideas. And we talked about, I think, initiating and response, appropriately linking contribution to those of other speakers. This one is referring to, for example, I think I explained that when somebody says something, you're not just talking about your ideas. Try to link your ideas to what the other person said. So you just try to react to what the other person said and then talking about your own opinion. That's something that is really important in this part. And maintain and develop the interaction and negotiate toward an outcome. This part, negotiate towards an outcome, which is definitely helpful in part 3. Sometimes you have to come to a conclusion or decision. So it's really important to try to negotiate, to try to talk about the pros, cons of something, try to show that, for example, what the other candidates say is good or bad. You have to try to use some proper language in that situation and try to move the conversation towards an outcome. And you say, okay, this is the best option. This is the worst option. So this is really also important, how to do it. We will see a lot of examples in the course. So don't worry about any of these parts. And basically, if you do all of the things that we mentioned, you can get 5 scores in the interactive communication easily. Now, what you can do right now is you have a button down here, which you can click on it and you can join the course. In this course, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to learn all different parts one by one in details as well, all the languages, everything that you need in each part. You will learn with lots of real examples. I'll put a lot of examples with the answers. So you will learn how to answer just like an advanced student. You will learn a lot of, let's say, specific languages you need to use in each part in the course. And honestly, if you do the things in the course that I'm saying, 100% you're going to pass this speaking test with a really good score. I've seen many students coming to my class and all of them were like, oh my God, Max, we're so scared. I think I'm going to pass. I'm going to fail. I'm not going to pass. And after learning all the things, and they were still not confident, and they went to the test and they got almost C1 in the speaking, and they were shocked. They were saying, Max, I didn't know. I thought I'm going to fail. I said, no, you got C1. What are you talking about? So most of the candidates, they always think that, okay, if my vocabulary, my grammar is not really good, I'm going to fail. But no, as you can see, we talked about a lot of different things. We talked about interactive communication. We talked about pronunciation, discourse management, grammar and vocabulary, and you learn how to do that perfectly. And also, we're going to talk about, at the end of this video, we're going to also a little bit talk about the global achievement as well, which we don't want to forget that part as well. But basically, these are all the things that the assessor is going to give you, the scores. But we're going to also talk about a little bit at the end of this video about these global achievements. So stay tuned. I'm going to talk about the next part. Okay, about the global achievement, I think we've wrote that part in the past, but let's try to look at it again. We said handles communications on a range of familiar topics with very little hesitation. Now, this one refers to familiar topics. As you remember, we talked about familiar topics, topics that usually you have some experience. And this interlocutor is going to see how fast you can start talking about them. Or you think, let's say, 10 minutes before talking. Of course, you don't have 10 minutes. The whole exam is like 15 minutes. But I'm just exaggerating. What I'm saying is you don't have a lot of hesitation. You don't have you don't have these stuff. You just try to immediately start and talking, maybe 2-3 seconds thinking, and that's it. And then you start talking. And this is what the examiner or the interlocutor is looking at, because she's sitting in front of you or he's sitting in front of you. So he's going to absorb that. Also uses accurate and appropriate linguistic resources to express ideas and produce extended discourse that is generally coherent. So here it refers to being accurate, and the words or the phrases that you're using in your speaking is referring to the topic, is related to the topic. The languages that you're using is really clear and correct. And you can also try to, let's say, extend your answers, or you can make your answers longer in order to answer some of the questions in part 2, 3, 4. And most of them are coherent. We talked about coherent, and everything is, let's say, it has a flow in it, so we can see that where you're starting and how you're ending it, and it's not like jumping from one topic to the other. And most of the time, if the examiner sees that you're trying to be fluent, you don't have hesitation, and you're just trying to talk and try to extend, and you have a very good attitude with the other candidate, and you're trying to communicate with both interlocutor and the other candidate, uh, they will give you 5 score for this part without any problem. Let's try to remember the other steps, other things that we talked about. Those things that we talked is going to also help you to get 5 scores in your global achievement part. Now, you can click down below here and you can start the course. You can join the course immediately after clicking here. After getting access, you can just try to start the course without any problem. You can do it right now. Immediately you get access to it, and you can start the course without any problem. And if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, anything still you're not sure about anything, you've got some questions, I just put my number down below here. You can just contact me, you can text me on WhatsApp, and you can ask me any questions that you might have. We try to answer your questions. And don't worry about anything. We are supporting you 24 hours in this course until you get this without any problems. So don't worry about anything. We're here to support you. All the students that came to us at first, they were like desperate. They were all scared, but at the end of the course, they were confident. They got their score and they passed it without any problem. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the course. Have a good time.